Tunisian rabbi. His name was Rabbi Mordecai Baruch Carvalho, Zecher Tzadik Libracha, very great rabbi of his time. He was born actually in the year 1705. He passed away on the year 1784. Happened to have been, I think, the 8th of Tevet was his Hilula. So I'm not recording this specifically at the time of his Hilula, but he was a very great rabbi, and much can be related within regards to him. He would go on to become an author. He was a trader also, and was one of the great rabbis of Tunisia. He was a chief rabbi, I think, of congregation over there in Livorno, or the Livorno congregation in Tunisia also, and took on various other importances, let's just say. He was the second chief rabbi, I think, actually, to be precise, and was a merchant also. He worked as, was also a Torah author, as well as being a rabbi. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. Now, approximately, he was born in the year 1705. It's stated over. Now, while he was going to be learning Torah very much a huge chunk of the day, he was also a wealthy merchant. I think at one stage in his life he would suffer with his business, and he wouldn't be as wealthy, and would lose a good chunk of the wealth. I think it's reported over. He would study under the auspices of a very great rabbi, Rabbi Yitzchak Lombroso, another great rabbi we've spoken about on this series on various occasions before. He himself passed away in the year 1752. Rabbi Lombroso was one of the great rabbis of Tunisia. He was a Talmud of Rabbi Abraham Tayyab, that's how great he was, and was part of, let's just say, the forefather of the Lombroso rabbinic dynasty, and was, I think, the first chief rabbi, if I'm not mistaken, of Tunisia, or was a chief rabbi at one stage of time. I'm not sure if that was the first or not. It was mentioned about the previous rabbi, who was the second chief rabbi of the Livorno community, but I think he was a chief rabbi himself, Rabbi Lombroso, of Tunisia, and was author of great Torah books, including Zera Yitzchak, and most specifically, I think, which was printed after he passed away in the year 1768. A great Torah book, and one of the great books from Tunisia, without doubt, during the 1700s, which featured very much Chidushim from the Talmud, from the Gemara, respectively. Okay, so now I think when his so it's interesting. I think we're speaking about today, obviously, Rabbi Carvalho, Rabbi Mordecai Baruch Carvalho. So when Rabbi Lombroso passed away, Rabbi Carvalho would succeed him as becoming chief rabbi of the Livorno community in Tunisia. He used to study, I think, interesting enough, he had a son, Yitzchak, what's reported over. So he would study with him a big chunk of every single day. He would study respectively over there. And especially during Parashah, during Shabbat itself, they would study every Shabbat, especially the Mizrahi commentary on the Torah. And they would write various different Torah novelties that would come back from their study, obviously not on Shabbat, this was. And very interesting. I think, sadly, I think his son passed away. He was only about 28 years of age. It was reported over in the year 1759. And he would, I think, print various novels, let's just say, and Torah works in his memory, and very different great importances respectively. I think the name of the book was called Sefer HaZichronot B'Chayei Yitzchak, which included various different chidushim on the parish of the Mizrahi, as we said before, and various different chidushim, novelties, teachings on the Shas, the Talmud Bavli, were printed also, which you have to point out. And I think he passed away himself on the 8th of Tevet in a plague, it's reported over, very, very sadly. And we're talking about back in the year 1784, so it was quite a significant time ago, close to about 240 years ago, to be precise. He passed away. Now, one of his descendants, I think, happens to be a man of the name Zol Carvalho, also, who was a famous, I believe, Mandes. This is Mandes, called a railway engineer, and one of the founders of the Kol Yisrael Chaviv. Now, what is that? I think it's actually quite interesting. There was a school system called the Kol Yisrael Chavirim, also the Alliance school system, which was an organization that promoted, let's say, more egalitarian Jewish society. It wasn't necessarily a Torah-related society, but I think it concentrated on human rights and languages, educating various different languages, and bring education opportunities more in the secular sphere itself. I don't think it was really a very strong Torah backboned organization, but mind you, it was a Jewish organization in various other aspects also. So it's actually interesting, there's a whole section in the Jewish Encyclopedia that is very much featured within regards to him. It states about the large lengths of time he would actually spend with his rabbinical studies, and how he would be an outstanding follow-up from Rabbi Yitzchak Limbrazo, one of the heads of the Legon congregation of Tunis, and he had a very high reputation. He was seen as a great rabbinical authority also, and there was various different publications of his also printed, including To'afot Ra'im. This was the strength of the unicorn, as you can say, commentary on, as we said before, Rabbi Eliyahu Mizrahi, who was from Legon, I think in the year 1761, printed, and the Mirat Akiyah, also respectively, which was based on teachings of Maimonides, Yad HaKaza'ah, and the Talmud Bavli, respectively, over there. And I think, so much more can be said about him, and also his works, which was done in memory of his son, Rabbi Yitzchak Carvalho, Zechet Tzadik Livracha. We have to also point out, also, there was various different works and chronicles within regards to him. You can say maybe a few more interesting things within regards to him, that just about the greatness and the length and breadth of time he would, and the great reputation he had. Now, his book of the To'afot Re'em, I think, was printed in Legon, actually, in the year 1761. And the Mirat was also printed in Legon in the year 1792. So that would have been, I think, 7 years approximately after he had passed away. I think it was a commentary on the miscellaneous of various different tracts of the Babylonian Talmud and the Maimonides, Yad HaZakah. So that would have been 7 years. I think Lechmon once also. I think he also, this work he would print with regards to Rabbi Yitzchak Carvalho. His son was an uncompleted work. He passed away, reported over, in January 1759. And the work entitled Sefer HaZichronot Ve'Chaye Yitzchak, I think it's Book of the Records and Life of Isaac, published together with the elder of Rav Carvalho's To'afot Re'im, respectively, containing obviously the commentary on the works of Mizrahi, respectively, and the miscellaneous on various tracts of Talmud, and also speaking about the 4 funeral orations, respectively. Now, he passed away in the year 1785. He would have been approximately about 80 years of age at the time the great rabbi passed away, and there's much more can be said about him. There's a lot documented, I think, in various different places also within regards to the brilliant rabbi, which I very much recommend everyone to look at and learn more about. And I think it's actually interesting. His Chatan, if I'm not mistaken, was Rabbi Yitzchak El Chayak, another rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before. I believe we actually recorded a video about him in this series. Al Chayak family was a famous family, I believe, also in its specific day. So much more can be said within regards to that. It's more on the Tunisia.co.il website, very much featured within regards to him, just stating once again about his brilliance while he was a chief rabbi of the community of Tunis, and the great books that he wrote. And they actually state over on the Tunisia.co.il website within regards to talk about the introduction to his book, about he describes the difficulties, let's just say, in serving the public, let's just say, and the toughness that there was after his son had passed away, and the sorrow there was at that stage in time. And I think there was various haskamot brought about within regards to his book, I think maybe even from Levano, if I'm not mistaken, including from Rabbi Moshe Bar Shmuel Adawi, I think, and various Tunisian rabbanim, including Rabbi David Safij, Rabbi Yosef Cohen, Rabbi Mordecai Baruch Carvalho, Rabbi Mordecai El Chayach, Rabbi Avram Chayat, Rabbi David Najjar, Rabbi Nathan Burgiel, a rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before, Rabbi Shmuel Sewai, Rabbi Yosef Zarka, and Rabbi Shmuel Darmon, Rabbi Yitzchak Bechor, David El Chayach also. These were great rabbis, and there's many other great rabbis also keeps connected, I think, Rabbi Masud Al-Fazi, and Rabbi Yitzchak Al-Chiach, and many other great rabbanim, respectively, over there, which I recommend everyone to look more at and learn more about. Now, friends, we're a community here. We are learning about great rabbis of yesteryear. It happens to be over here we have been speaking about a famous Tunisian rabbi, Rabbi Mordecai Baruch Carvalho, who was a very great rabbi in his time. Now, friends, if you descend from any of the great Chachamim we are speaking about in this series, please send me an email. I would love to hear more information from you. I really, really appreciate it. If you feel anyone is interested in watching these videos, please share these videos also to other people. This is one of the great ways where we can spread Torah and grow as a community together. We are nearing a staggering 7,000 subscribers, which is a phenomenal achievement. I don't think we would have thought we would have got to even from the beginning. We record other videos also inside this channel. It's not just dedicated to stories of the great rabbis of yesteryear. We cover a Daf Yomi tidbit every single day. We get a great Jewish personality every day to contribute and talk about various different Torah importances and give a important wisdom of Torah, which we feel is very, very much important for all of us to boost our days respectively. So wishing you well on that note. Take care. Thanks for watching and be well. I appreciate it.